United States, they talk about the environment. They talk about nothing else. You know, China's opening up a coal plant. I'm not saying good or bad. A coal plant every week. And we're not allowed to do anything. We have to go by the wind, and the wind isn't powerful enough, and it's intermittent and many other problems.
I think most people understand that they're trying to destroy the country.
It's almost like they're trying to destroy.
Yeah, clearly. We're fighting people that actually want to see the destruction of
Well,
America.
it's hard to believe, but who would think that, right?
I think it's very clear. It's in our faces. They're not hiding it anymore. What they're putting in the school systems, getting rid of these great men in the military, men and women in the military. Hindsight is 2020.
No, excuse me. You say that, and I used to hear it. I said, who would do that? Who would do that? It's so obvious. Who wants to have open borders where jails and prisons of other countries are being busloaded into buses and trains and being sent into our country?
Releasing criminals into the streets.
They're releasing prisoners. They're releasing murderers, rapists, drug dealers into our country. And you say, who would do that? And they know it's happening, and they just let it happen. We built almost 500 miles of wall. Would have taken 3-4 weeks to finish, complete. And look, it's doing the job anyway because it's tiny sections. But you know what? Who would believe they don't want to finish the wall? Who would believe that? But prisoners being released into our country, and you talk about masks, you talk about mandates, you talk about all this stuff. You come through the southern border, you have no problem. And tremendous diseases coming through, long beyond COVID, coming through our southern border, and they don't want to do anything about it. And how often do you see the mainstream or the lamestream media talk about it? You never see it. They don't talk about the border. They don't talk
anymore. So I wouldn't even call it.
Well, a lot of them aren't watching.
Yeah, nobody's watching it. I wouldn't even call it mainstream.
That's
the
true.
views are really low right now.
How about lamestream?
Yeah, we could send a tweet or a parlor right now, and we could get more views in 5 seconds. So I don't even call it mainstream. But I do want to ask you, hindsight is 2020. Anything that looking back, you think, you know what, I got that one wrong, or I wish I had this knowledge and I could have done something different. You know, it's easy, obvious. It's hard.
Always, by the way, always in any business, no matter what you did, no matter what your success, you always would do certain things a little bit differently or differently. The biggest, look, we had tremendous success. The border was the strongest it's ever been. The economy was the best in history, and I did it twice. I had to do it after. I had to rebuild it after our friends from China either sent us or it came in from China. And they should pay reparations, by the way. They should pay. Even they can't afford to pay the world because there's probably $60 trillion of damage they've caused. But they should pay reparations. They should not be allowed to get away with this. And people don't talk about that anymore either. But I would say the big thing would be certain people I would have used differently. I would have put different people in certain positions. If I had a choice, I don't have to go specifically, but I could give you names at a later date. But there'd be people, I had great people too, you know, rebuilding the military, all the things I did. We have great generals, but not the television generals. There were certain people that I would not have put in, I would have put somebody else in. But at the time, I had spent 17 days of my life in Washington, D.C., but now I know it better than anybody, and I know the good. I know we have some great people. And I would say probably more than anything else, I would have made put certain people into positions that I didn't give them. I took somebody, put them in a position, and I didn't like the job they did.
I think definitely, and perhaps some snakes around you as well.
We had some snakes, yeah. And look, you always do. No matter what business, whether it's politics or anything else, you always do. I had some very loyal people. I had some very disloyal people, very bad people. And I think this is true with companies. If you're running a big company, or sometimes you make a decision to put somebody there, and it always happens. It's rare that you go through, a long period of time and everybody's just perfect. But I know people that would have done great jobs in certain positions, and I didn't like the jobs that certain people did. And usually I fired them. And every time when you fire somebody, it's a big deal. But usually I fired them. Overall, we had great people.
Yeah. I know that we don't have much time left, so I'm going to toss you a fun one. Alec Baldwin, is he going to get arrested?
I don't know. Look, he's been trouble from day one. He did the imitation of me for years. I thought he was terrible.
Imitate him.
Well, no, I thought it was just, it wouldn't be hard. I thought he did terrible. I thought he was terrible at it. They have other people that do much better, but he's always trouble. I mean, He takes a gun, he said he didn't pull the trigger, and then the experts get on and say it's not possible that that particular gun can, it doesn't work that way. In other words, it can't happen that it works where you don't pull the trigger and it just happens to go off, okay? I don't think that was a very good interview for him. I just say this, he's always trouble. He goes out to talk to the press. Nobody gets treated worse than me by the press, and I'm very hostile to them likewise. But I don't end up in fistfights with him on the street. I mean, there's something wrong. I think he's crazy.